For those of you who didn't hear the news, Cinespace Studios has been sold for $1 billion. Cinespace and its founder or its president, operator Alex Pisios, have been very instrumental in creating jobs and bringing movies and television here to Chicago to employ people. I'm going to go on the record and say I have to do non-disclosure here. Alex is a friend of mine. He's a good man. He's done so much good work, not only in the media and film community here, but through the Cinecares Foundation that contributes to the neighborhoods and creates training and opportunities for young people to enter the film business here in Chicago in crew capacities, work their way up the ladder, get into the unions. Let me read from the story. Now, I know that this is not going to affect everybody in the city because it is specifically entertainment, but I did think it was of note to talk about since I'm a big fan of Alex and what Cinespace has done, and I've been a little bit involved peripherally in the community there. So the film studio sale is expected to accelerate the growth of Chicago's film industry and bring more production jobs to the area, new owners said. And this comes to us from Pascal Sabino at Block Club Chicago. The film studio where Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, and The Shire filmed is being sold for $1.1 billion and will stay in Chicago, according to published reports. Cinespace Chicago Film Studio's sprawling 60-acre campus is located on the west side, with the main studios at 2621 West 15th Place in North Lawndale. The studio has about 33 sound stages and recently announced it will add up to 19 more sound stages to its campus. TPG Real Estate, a Texas and California-based firm, bought the Chicago studio along with Cinespace Toronto for an estimated $1.1 billion, Deadline reports. Eoin Egan, who formerly worked as head of production services at Netflix, will be named Cinespace's new chief operating officer, according to Deadline. The acquisition is expected to accelerate the growth of Chicago's thriving film industry and bring more production jobs to the area, said Avi Banyas, co-head of TPG Real Estate. Consumer appetite for original content has accelerated through the pandemic, leading to a dramatic increase in the demand to produce new films and television, and in turn, a surge in the need for studio space, Bantas said. The deal will also expand Cinespace's social impact work in Chicago by growing the Cinecares Foundation, the film studio's nonprofit wing. Cinecares creates pathways into the film industry for young people on the south and west sides through job training, education, and internships at Cinespace. Community has always been core to who we are, said Alex Pisios, CEO of Cinespace. TPG's investment will expand these efforts and provide more jobs for Illinois. Mayor Lori Lightfoot commended the investment for the jobs and productions it will bring to the city. Chicago has a compelling, beautiful cityscape with so much potential. I'm thrilled to see this acquisition expand our capability for content creation, Lightfoot said. The combined Cinespace Chicago and Toronto film studios, founded by the Mercopoulos and Pisios families, are the largest soundstage in the United States outside of Hollywood. The Chicago studio opened in 2010. The Toronto studio launched in 1988. So I want to congratulate Alex and his family. I'm not sure what was behind the sale because it kind of came out of nowhere. I hadn't had my ear to the ground on what was going on. I know that it's been a rough year for production in Chicago. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, they were able to ramp up at Cinespace and get shows back into production with all the proper safety precautions and protocols related to the pandemic. I'm going to speculate perhaps the sale had to do with maybe pandemic impact on operations there, and a larger entity taking over it maybe had more capacity to grow it with how the studio was impacted this past year. I don't know. That's simply speculation. It just seems kind of a logical assumption because honestly, that studio was run very, very well, and is run very, very well, and has created a great community here in Chicago and the media community. So just thought I'd share that and tip my hat to Alex and his family for everything that they've done here in the community at Cinespace. I had a film project that I was hoping we would be filming there that I'm developing, and maybe we still will. Not sure how this deal will affect anything that I was involved in discussing there. But the fact that this new entity taking over is going to help grow the production, grow the studio, is going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for business. It's going to be good for taxes here in Chicago. It's going to be good for working people in the production community. So congratulations to Cinespace, and hopefully more good things will happen.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people working in TV and film in Chicago due to that studio.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a dead market for a while. I mean, there was one other studio in town, and there was a lot of problems over there I won't get into, but a lot of problems. And when Alex and his family bought the Ryerson Steel factory in that neighborhood, recognizing the potential with the high ceilings and the vast amount of space to be able to convert those into film studios, it really helped revitalize things. And there's a really great profile piece if you want to learn more about Alex Pisios and what he's helped do here in Chicago. Chicago Magazine did a great profile piece on him. I think it was 2 years ago. Alex came from really rough circumstances and never forgot the tough times he went through. So when someone gave him a hand up, he's done the same for so many people here in Chicago. And Alex is the kind of guy who doesn't forget the tough beginnings he dealt with, because he's always trying to help other people with tough situations excel and give a little bit of assistance up. So, and that's why we all love him. And I just think, I'm sad to see he won't be running the studio, because I believe his family won't be involved in operations anymore after the sale. But he was an inspiration. He did a lot for people here. So that's why I wanted to also report on it.
Arturo makes a really good point here. He
Yeah.
says Hollywood will need Cinespace once New York and California flood underwater in the future.
Yeah, a lot of people are shocked to know that Cinespace in Chicago and up in Canada is the largest facility outside of Hollywood. And that's kind of a shock, because people think there's a lot of production in New York, but the vast amount of studio space that is here, as well as their sister studio up in Toronto, is like it's incredible. The facilities, the space, the internal support services that they have in both studios with vendors and equipment and stuff like that. So the last, yeah, well, thanks, Arturo. I would say maybe it was Backdraft or The Fugitive or The Dark Knight, but I appreciate that. And we're still working to figure out if we can find a place to screen Solstice at Christmas and also collect non-perishable goods and toys and give back to those who bring the toys and food, a free screening of my Christmas movie to bring people together. Not quite sure how that's coming together, but you'll hear more about that in the future. And thanks for the plug, Arturo. He's never heard of those movies. Oh, shame on you, Art. You have.